Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Baxter from the HEADstrong Foundation, and we're here live tonight with a very special guest, Anthony Todaro, coming to us from Matthews, North Carolina. And I wanted to let Anthony introduce himself, as he's one of our top Pledge It campaign players this year, going live for the HEADstrong Foundation. How's it going, Anthony?
What's up? How are you? Blessed to be a part of this. I'm Anthony Todaro. I'm from Matthews, North Carolina, and I'm a sophomore at Weddington High School.
Awesome. So what position do you play?
I play attack.
Awesome. So are you a crease guy, or are you?
I like to do everything. Play at X, be a finisher, like to feed, always be a triple threat guy.
That's awesome. I was a crease attackman, so I was kind of a cherry picker myself, but. But thank you again for joining us. We also have your dad joining us to the left of you. And
how are you?
This is John. You want to give your introduction there?
Sure. My name's John Todaro. I am Anthony's dad. We're originally from New Jersey. I moved down here in 2000 to the Charlotte area, and we've been here ever since. I was not a lacrosse player growing up, but have fallen in love with the game and have tried to learn everything I can to help Anthony out in his career.
Very cool. Very cool. So how did you find out about the program and the campaign that we were holding? And what was your inspiration to get involved with HEADstrong?
So playing in the summer circuit, I mean, the HEADstrong, the teams are everywhere, and they do a great job advertising it throughout. So everyone knows about the lime green and the Callalori family. And then on YouTube, I've seen numerous videos about the Nick's homes and stuff that he does for other people and just his story in general. But specifically for the campaign, it was earlier this year, February. Villanova was playing Yale in the Patriot Cup, and Nick's mom, Cheryl, came up to the booth and started talking to Davey Amala, and that's when she first launched the campaign to the public. And I just looked at my dad and I said, this would be a great way to do it. I mean, it's something I love to do, play lacrosse, and I'm blessed and fortunate enough to play it. So I thought it was just going to be a great opportunity.
Yeah, you guys have done a really great job, spreading the word using social media. You're one of our top campaigns. We have about 50 guys doing it, whether they're going line, pledging their ground balls, their assists, their points. We have a face-off specialist campaign. We have a goalie campaign. We have some MLL players doing it as well. So what out of like all the things that you got engaged with HEADstrong, like what made you do it? Like, what was something like were you playing for somebody?
Yeah, I've lost numerous family members. I lost my Aunt Marie to breast cancer in the past, and I lost my Uncle Tommy to colon cancer. And then my grandfather on my maternal side, I was never able to meet him. He died a couple years before of stomach cancer. But then I also, I would never want to pass up on this opportunity because there's so many kids that aren't blessed and fortunate enough to play. And sometimes, I take it for granted, and I shouldn't. But sometimes I think I'm going through a tough time, whether I don't want to go to practice or I'm just bored. But those kids are going through so much more than what I'm going through. And every time they're a motivator to me to say, well, that kid isn't as blessed, but I can give back to him in some way, any way that I can.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's a great way to honor your loved ones that have passed from cancer. I myself lost a parent, so I'm right there with that's why I do what I do every day. I come to work just like you're going to play lacrosse. Yes, you get to do what you love and help others while you're doing it, and that was kind of our vision for getting this campaign off the ground, was allow student athletes like yourself to become like a full-fledged. You're good in school, you're good on the athletic field, and then you're a good person in the community. And that was kind of why we wanted to kind of extend what Nick Callalori's vision was to start this foundation. Is to, he always said like his brotherhood would never let him down. And 11 years later, you're part of that brotherhood. Taking up the cause and really kind of carrying that torch past, and hopefully what you did on the field this year. You're a first team all conference player, which is really awesome. Congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You guys did a really good job of kind of like promoting what you were doing on social media. You were one of the most active participants on social media, and really utilizing technology to kind of like move the needle in the fundraising platform that we used this year with Pledge It. So, John, as Anthony's dad, like, what were your thoughts when he came to you and said, like, "Hey, I want to do this campaign"?
It was amazing. We were sitting there watching the Patriot Cup game, and literally, as Cheryl was in the booth talking to the broadcast team about it, he really did. He looked at me and said, "Dad, this is something I want to do." And literally, he hounded me the rest of that Saturday and the next day to get on there and start the website and get things going. And it's been a fantastic experience. And I've got to tell you, Jeff, to be honest, I think Anthony is getting as much out of this, if not more, than the HEADstrong Foundation. I mean, I know that we're able to raise money and do the right thing, but this has been a tremendous experience for him as a young man. As I mentioned to you, he just turned 16. And you look at the life skills that he's getting out of this program, I think that's something you guys should talk about with these other athletes, because I'll give you a couple of examples. One, even as simple as public speaking. So we were at my parents' house on Easter weekend, and there was an egg hunt on the front lawn, on the lawn out in my parents' neighborhood. And all of a sudden, you turn around, and there's Anthony holding court, talking to parents about what he's doing for HEADstrong. The people that he was talking to, one was an anesthesiologist, the other was a CFO of a company, and there's, at the time, my 15-year-old son talking about what he's doing for HEADstrong. So it's an awesome life skill that he gets out of there. You talked about the social media earlier. Those are two other great things that are happening for Anthony. Talk about follow-up skills, right? How many times, Anthony, did folks tell us, "Oh, yeah, sure, I'm going to pledge to the campaign," and then you have to follow up with them?
Yeah, of course. It's always big because you want to stay with their word, but you don't want to hound them too much. But it's awesome to just, like, allow people to do it. And I just want to, like, I got the wristband, I think the week before our first game this year, and I've never taken it off. And I know so many people stop me because, I mean, just the bright colors. People say, "Oh, what's that?" Like, even if it's just not anyone associated with lacrosse, like, I'll be walking the hallway. They'll say, "Oh, that's a cool bracelet. Like, where'd you get it?" And I'll tell them about the story. And, I mean, people are moved by it, and they don't know a thing about lacrosse. Like, there's been girl soccer players, men's basketball. They're like, "Oh, my gosh, I've never, like, realized what's going on." And then it's a huge eye-opener for them because they really never probably thought about it or experienced it.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And that's kind of like, I had utilized this program, this like Pledge It campaign with kickers in a past position, and I saw exactly what you were talking about, John, with how these kickers got a sense of, like, ownership with it, and they actually could, like, show, in the future, like, their college coaches, or they won volunteer awards, or they got honored by their high school, with the work that they were doing. And it's really exemplary that a 16-year-old or a 17, 18-year-old would kind of, like, take this on. And it's kind of our way of, like, the platform that you're on in a town in North Carolina to kind of spread our mission. Because, to be honest with you, the folks that are coming to Philadelphia for treatment are coming from all over the country. Philadelphia is a leader in oncology research and experimental treatments. So there's folks coming specifically for 2 or 3 of our, at University of Penn, specialized treatments, proton beam therapy being one. And, the house that Nick's family and Nick had envisioned, at this point right now, we have 5 families in there. And without the funding from guys like Anthony, we wouldn't be able to provide what we're providing for those families. And we say we're giving them home field advantage. We're giving them, like, a home field to live on while they're fighting their battle. And honestly, like the story I told you before we started about, a ex-pro athlete that's staying at the house, his family member, was playing in one of our tournaments. And when he helped him move in, was, like, blown away. Like, wow, I just realized that the HEADstrong Foundation funds this. It's amazing. So we really thank you for your efforts and what you're doing. And and hopefully we can continue to work with you,
Yeah, of course.
through the rest of your high school season, and even when you get into college, because
Yeah.
most of our fundraising on the athletic team side is done in men's and women's lacrosse, and they're the ones that really helped this foundation take flight. Like I mentioned earlier, Nick said his brotherhood would never let him down, and you're just carrying that torch, and hopefully you can pass that torch on to others in your town, in your high school, no matter the sport. It doesn't even have to be a lacrosse player. We welcome anybody to kind of pledge their stats and pledge their skills to help others. So what are your next steps? Like, what are your goals, your dreams about the sport of lacrosse and school and what you want to do?
Of course. So last year we won the state championship. I was a freshman. We won the 3A state championship, and this Friday is our first playoff game. And short term, it's obviously to repeat. We're gonna have to play a tough schedule. There's great teams in the 3A this year, and I just hope to do it. So we have 5 more games left in this season. And I know I'll be playing with HEADstrong for the rest of the 5 games, and that'll be huge just as a motivator. And then try to finish on my high school career as best as I can. And then, of course, I'm going to play in college. I want to play at the best school that can make me a better man on and off the field, where I can excel in the classroom and on the field, but then play at the best academic institute where I can play at and go to school there too, which would be awesome for me.
Well, if you guys are ever traveling up to Philly for a summer tournament or some visits later on in school, please do. We'll meet up and we'll give you a tour of Nick's house outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, we'll be there in July actually, so we can definitely talk about something with that. That'd be an awesome experience just to go to one of them, because I've never been to one from Charlotte, North Carolina.
That'd be awesome. We would welcome that for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Well, thank you again, Anthony and John, for your time. And I'm gonna
thank you.
I'm gonna kind of stop the broadcast now, but if you guys would stay on the line, we'll thank everybody for joining us, and